Alright everybody, here we are back in the workshop after a several week hiatus. As you can see, the workshop is a shambles. Which is good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but anyway, right now, the cedar table. So we got the bench, first bench, kind of done. We detailed the legs, sanded everything down, detailed the top, which I'll show you here in a few minutes. Still have to add the cross feet on here for stability, and still attach them, but we mortised out the holes for it anyway, so that they fit in there. So I set up the drill press, took the base off of it and attached it to the workbench, thinking that I could use it to mortise these holes. Come to find out that my depth here is not quite what it should be. So we did exactly what the manufacturer tells you not to, and attached it to my hand drill, which took some doing because the distance between here and here is longer than it is on from here to there. So anyway, so we had to do some modifications. Don't tell anybody to that, but we got it to work. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup because I got crap everywhere, and we're going to start working on like I said, these cross sections and getting those attached, and then getting the finish put on the top of the bench. And once we got that set up somewhere where it can dry, we will then start working on the next piece, which all these things are all down here. So yeah, I think I'm going to start working on the next bench is probably what the next thing is. And then, yeah, I don't know what after that, but we'll start working on it. But I have got cedar and elm and plywood and 2x4s just sitting everywhere. So I've got to get this stuff put back into place and going. We also, hopefully today also, will be carving something on the X-Carve. I've got a couple projects there. So anyway, thank you for all of you that have stayed tuned, people that are watching. Tell your friends, promote it on Facebook if you could, please. Let your friends know to come and take a peek and see what I'm doing. And yeah, see you in a few minutes. Wow, and like that, there we go. Looks a little better than it did. So we got the table set up. It's all level, so that I can take that paper off, flip it over, and put that seal coat on it. So what I'm doing right now is I've measured these on the feet, and so with the feet on them and the bench top on top, we're talking it's total 21 inches. So we figured that's okay for what we're trying to do. So I've got these marked on here with their center lines, and then the outside lines of where the feet will sit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to router these edges to match this detail on here, and then we're going to round over the front. So I've just got to make a template. I've kind of sketched it out on that one, but I got to make a template that I can really make them consistent, so I got a nice little round over onto it. So that's kind of what we're up to right now. So I cut those over here, and I've got enough for the other 2 feet on the other one, and then I've got another piece somewhere for the feet on the legs of the table somewhere. Anyway, so that's where we're at right now. So I will set up the camera here so that you can watch as we do the routering and everything on this, so you can see how we did it. Ready? Okay, so kind of getting everything set up. So what I've got here is a corner round is what I've been using to make these details. And what I did is I ran it, you know, one way first, down this way, and then I flipped it and went, you know, the opposite way. So So I basically gave a double shoulder on that and created that edge. So I'm going to try and recreate that on these ones here. So we'll have to run it this way first. Well, doesn't matter which way first. And then, you know, kind of pull out before we get to this section where it meets up, so it leaves that detail. And then once we do both edges like that, or all 4 edges, I guess, 8 edges, whatever you want to call it, we'll then flip it, and we'll go down this one, and then this one, then flip it, and go down this one, and this one, the same way. So, maybe some cutaways, or maybe some slower motion, but we'll see in just a second. I'll show you. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I have enough. I may end up having to redo some of these, but we'll get them sanded down and see what they look like, and we'll put the profile on them and go from there. Right now, there's just dust everywhere, and hence the reason I don't have that drying over there, because if I had epoxied that, there'd be dust all in it. So anyway. So we're going to work on this a little bit, and we'll be back. All right, here we go. So, kind of the detail on it. Comes right up to that edge. I thought about continuing this down so they met. I don't know. I still may do it. I don't know. But they all sanded. So now it's just a matter of finding a template, making a template to round these over so they're all consistent and all look the same. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. So we'll see you on the next one. Alright, so the foreman, also known as my beautiful and capable wife, came in and she said, why don't you just round it over? I was like, huh, alright. So we'll just round it over, and it's not bad. So I was going to put a deeper round over on it with a template, but I think that works. So so yeah, I think that worked out really well. And so we will put a finish sand on these to I think 120 is what I'll do on all of this stuff. And then we will prepare all surfaces for sealing. So we'll seal, give it a nice quick seal coat, and then if I've got time tonight or in the morning, I will come back and I will put a flood coat on at least the seat. So anyway, that's where we're at, and I'll give you an update here in a little bit. All right, here we are. So sanded down the top again with 220 is what I ended up doing. Somebody might be asking about this. So this ended up as it dried, it cracked. And so what I did is I filled it in with CA glue and an accelerator. I just wanted to see what it looked like and thought it looked kind of cool. But down here there's another defect right here, and I filled that one in with clear So I don't know. Either way works. And so kind of gives it some character. Anyway, so sanded it with 220 and brought up the grain and sanded it down again. So now I'm just letting it dry. And then over here, I just used some quick varnish to kind of seal the end grain. And then I wanted to see what it would look like if this was, you know, sealed with a varnish. So we're gonna give that a try, see how that looks. And then, so I just, again, sealed the end grain. But now what I'm gonna do is, as soon as this is dry, we're gonna mix up some epoxy and just clear coat this and see how we do and see what it looks like. And then we can kind of go from there. So this will be my last video for this week anyway. My only video for this week. I'm going to do this in sections and in parts. And so I got to work for the next 3 days. And so I won't be back in the shop until Wednesday next week. And we're going to see if we can't finish all of this up. So I will do some more of this. I'll show you what I'm doing before I close up shop tonight. And then we'll go from there. All right, here we are. So we're going to now mix the epoxy. So I've got my drill ready. I've got part B. Actually, I got, so I got part B, and then part A is over here. I got a little bit of part A, and let's mix the rest of it. So what we got is you take the square footage of your piece and you multiply by 3, which is 3 ounces per square foot. And you then measure that out. So what we got here is, the way I calculated it, it's roughly about 10 ounces of each. And then we put in part B first. Perfect. Okay, now we'll put in the rest of this part A. I'll get it to come out. Should have warmed it up is what I should have done. Just using up the last of this. So this stuff, what I'm using is Pro-Marine's epoxy. So I've used, I think I've told you guys in the past, I've used Stone Coat, which I really like. And I bought West Systems, but I haven't used it yet. I may use it on this project, I don't know. We'll see. So we got about 11 now. Yeah, I should have heated this up. Whew, 15 right there. There she be. All right, now, because this is cold, this usually flies everywhere if you're not careful. So we're gonna start out slow and mix this very carefully. So, and we go for 2 minutes. There we have it, mixed. So now here, because I didn't warm it up, it's going to be cloudy. And a lot of that cloudy will come out when we torch it here in just a minute. So I'm going to get my torch ready. You can use a heat gun, and I do have a heat gun, but the heat gun blows it around quite a bit. I'm going to heat up the surface a little bit. Maybe take out some of that cloudiness. A little bit. Alright. And now I just spread it with my hands. People use brushes, they use trowels, they use all sorts of stuff. I just like to use my hands. And break up everything. So, all right. So we're gonna set this over here. We'll see how that does. So I'm gonna put on a clean pair of gloves. And we're gonna get to spreading. So again, I like this because doing it this way because I can then, you know, kind of control the drips and all of that. So I just kind of spread going down. There we go. Kind of get it to all the main surfaces, right? And then once it starts going over the edge, we'll get edges too. So right now I'm just trying to get the entire surface covered. So I've got this up on blocks that are covered in tuck tape. You know, the tuck tape that you use to kind of avoid epoxy sticking. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of going over the edges and going all the way down. Trying to get everything covered. So I think we got everything that we were going to get out of that container. So I put down new sheeting, as you can see, and the reason I put down new sheeting is so that I can pick up any extra epoxy and put it back on the table if I need it. You know, yeah, that actually came out clearer than I thought it would, so that's good. Like that. Now we'll just kind of torch everything. Try to get it fluid so it'll move, and to of course get out the bubbles. Yeah, so when you don't heat it up, which was my mistake again this time, you wind up with more bubbles, and you end up with it not flowing quite as well, which makes it difficult for it to, you know, settle the right way. So take that glove off. So the idea is that you seal this first, but I wanted to try something and compare it against these ones that I sealed kind of with this lacquer, and see how they do different, and then kind of go from there. So actually looks pretty good. So anyway, so we let that drip and dry for a couple of hours. I see some spots like that one. I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but where there was that divot that I filled in with CA glue, and then a few others. I may do another light coat next week when I get back, and see how it goes. and see if we can't get it to kind of level out. So basically when I say a light coat, I basically mean we do half of what we did before and then just kind of go over the top of it and give it another layer. So we will we'll see what happens. So anyway, there's some spots that I'm gonna have to keep going over as we as it sinks into the wood. Again, that's why you seal the wood prior. I'm just doing some experimentation since this is a table that I can do that on anyway. So I will keep you posted on how everything goes, but it's looking good so far. Thanks. All right, everybody. So I did a little bit of work off camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I was kind of working out processes, so I didn't really film the rest of it. So did the epoxy on this. I did it on all the parts, sanded them down. Got a little bit too rough and aggressive there. So again, I was just working out processes. And then I decided I would get some of this polyacrylic. And it took it from this really high sheen to this really, really kind of subtle satin sheen, because I believe this is a clear satin. Anyway, so I rollered it on with these foam rollers. Just once I got at my local hardware store, the Do It Best brand, and just rollered it on, and came out really good. I like the sheen. So anyway, so this is all put together. So what I'll do is when I get back from vacation, going to Arizona, we will start on these ones over here, and start the legs and get that process going. And then we'll get down here, get the tops put together on it, and then we'll get back to this. So anyway, I will show you the process of everything else once we get to that point. So anyway, thanks for watching.